Well, howdy everybody, my little Schneebleites. It's your best friend Schneebles here. No, but seriously, I wanted to start today with my first top 10 list. This is going to be my top 10 spells and trap cards that you can use in a budget deck. I mean, just for fun, of course. These are budget cards you can get relatively cheap, and that, they work well with almost every deck. If not every deck, they do work well with most. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. And of course, I mean, there's definitely better cards out there, but these, I think, are the best alternatives to some of the more important and prominent cards in the game today. Okay. We're going to go ahead and start out with a trap card that everybody knows is a staple, and, I mean, this is a staple in even meta decks. Compulsory Evacuation Device. Now, why is this card great? A lot of cards can't be targeted. Okay, that's a problem. This does target. However, a lot of cards can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and so like cards like Mirror Force, those become phased out. That's why cards like Quaking, Floodgate, Floodgate, Drowning Mirror Force, etc. Those cards have become important. So the Compulsory Evacuation Device is like one of those cards because all it does is back to your hand. And I mean, you can do this to your own cards. I like to do this to I created a Celtic Guardian rank 4 deck where I run like yugioh, and like if somebody's gonna Raigeki or Dark Hole my yugioh, I just pop my yugioh back to my hand, and then I can activate its effect again, gain my 1000, and have him back on the field again for a later play to make a rank 4 Xyz card. Okay, so next spell card. We're gonna go ahead and talk about Autonomous Action Unit. I think you pay 1500 life points, and you target one monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon that target to your side of the field, face-up attack position, and equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy the equipped monster. That's pretty good. That's like a Call of the Haunted. That's an Oasis of Dragon Souls. It's like, it kind of reminds me of the old times of like Monster Reborn. I mean, because you're able to take a monster from your opponent's graveyard, bring it to you. This is good because you kind of don't really have an excuse for not being able to compete with some of the better decks out there, or at least not compete, but you have the ability to have a monster from one of their decks. So you could pull out a big beater out and like can't be targeted, can't be destroyed or by battle or whatever, and that could change the game. And a lot of people don't run it. I'm not really sure why. But I run it in a few decks. I run it usually, like I said, in my Celtic Guardian rank 4 deck. I also run this, and I run it also in my Incan deck, and in my old school like Machine and Alien deck. Okay, my next trap card is going to be Bottomless Trap Hole. Another staple. A lot of people do run this card, just because sending things to the graveyard isn't enough. Sometimes you do need to banish something. So when your opponent summons a monster with 1500 or more attack, destroy the monster. And if you do, banish it instead of sending it to the graveyard. Old school card, been around for a long time, and I feel like it is a staple in almost every deck today. Next up, Dark Hole. So this is my LOB version that I got, Legend of Blue Eyes. I got it like way back in the day when I was a little one, and I mean, it's awesome. It works well. Typically in decks like my Incan deck or my Archfiend deck, where you want to destroy cards, you want to fill your graveyard, and you also want to get rid of your opponent's cards. I mean, oftentimes they're going to go ahead and, they can negate it or whatever, but it's okay because chances are they won't. A lot of times people will tell you, oh, but I could just negate, why would you run that card? I mean, this card could be a game changer, If someone could say, oh, I can negate that, you could potentially negate any card. Any card. Every card is susceptible to something. So people, when they say, oh, it has too many weaknesses, every card has a weakness. Judgment of Anubis. This card isn't great, but when you have it working the right way, I mean, it gets its job done. So when your opponent activates you discard a card from your hand to negate the activation effect of a spell card controlled by your opponent. That includes the effect of destroying spell and or trap cards on the field and destroy it. This is good for MST Twin Twisters. Everybody runs MST and Twin Twisters. I don't, but this card helps you out. Then you can destroy one face-up monster on your opponent's side of the field. Boom, that's an extra. So you negated a spell, and then you also get to destroy one monster. and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of a destroyed monster. A lot of people don't run this because it's super specific and it's really difficult to get the chance going, but if I have this card set, I typically get it off. I mean, it's like I said, almost everybody runs Twin Twisters and MST. You're gonna get this going. All right, next up, air traffic control. And again, this is a really interesting card. This is good against decks like, well, any kind of pendulum deck, any kind of deck that you're getting a lot of monsters out on the field. Blue Eyes, Metal Foes. So if they have 3 or more monsters on the field, they cannot declare an attack. Simple as that. You don't have to pay any life points, and this is on the field. I run this at 3 in decks like my Incan deck. I also run it in 3. Well, I ran it at 3 in this rank 2 deck I had built, and a rank 1 deck I built, and a Skull Servant deck. Just because it kind of gives you more protection, it allows you to kind of stall a little bit, and it costs nothing. And it's a continuous spell, so they can obviously negate it or whatever, but everything's susceptible to something, right? Next up, 7 Tools of the Bandit. So this is my old school Metal Raiders, ultra rare. And I mean, this card, whew, man, this takes me back. You pay 1,000 life points to negate the activation of trap card and destroy it. Why is this card not being played as often as it should? Everyone's running the Solemn Brigade and stuff, but I mean, trap cards can be a problem. I've gotten this to negate Solemn. I've gotten this to negate Quaking, Floodgate. I've saved monsters quite a bit with this card, and it goes way back. I mean, to being able to negate stuff like Magic Jammers, Trap Jammer, Mirror Force, you know, the old school stuff. So it's a fun card. I think everyone should run. Alright, Soul Charge. Obvious selection here. You're pulling out, I mean, you're getting up to 5 monsters from your grave card at the cost of 1,000 per monster. That's pretty good. I mean, because the best time I've been able to use that is if I need to go into a synchro summon and I just don't have anything on the field. My opponent's got everything. He doesn't have a back row and no way to negate stuff. I got this going. I could get out whatever I need, basically, based on, of course, the graveyard being full. This is also good for Xyz summoning, because then you can pull out a few of the same. If you don't want to pay like the 5,000 life points of summoning 5, you can just go ahead and get the 2, 3, 4, whatever you need, and get the job done. A lot of people use this early on in the game. I advise against that. I'd rather lose the game than go ahead and just pay 1,000, get like a weak monster out for protection for 1 round. Just because you don't know, you might be able to, like with me, with my milling and burning decks, I'm stuffing the graveyard all the time, so I usually wait because I know they'll have something better in there. And lastly, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Forceful Checkpoint. So this card also doesn't get run as often as it should, and I think it's pretty good. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, look at his hand, and if there is a monster card, negate the attack, then discard 1 monster from their hand of your choice. That's a pretty good card. I mean, it negates the attack. I mean, it doesn't end the battle phase, but it negates an attack. You can discard a monster from their hand. If they're searching out monsters and you know they got something in there, you get it to the graveyard. And sometimes you know that they won in the graveyard, but still, it's good for protecting you. It's good for a budget deck. These cards are all relatively affordable. Even in like the older editions, like with the 7 tools and stuff. So yeah, you don't need to go about buying cards that cost you like an arm and a leg if you want to, I mean, just to have fun. If you want to be competitive, obviously few of these cards are really gonna make a difference, but if you're dueling amongst friends and you kind of want a good little back row, most of these cards will be good for you. And yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Schneebles again. This was my top 10 list. I'm going to be making more hopefully soon, and look out for more dueling videos as well as deck lists. Thank you very much, my little Schneebleites. Schneebles.